Hey, this is Louis D. Fresh, bringing it to you on a Tuesday evening. I have to think for a second. I hope you are doing well. I gotta be loud for the microphone. Today, I'm not gonna do college. This is for a YouTube video. This is not college. This is not fish. But it's a new project. Actually, it's my wife's. It's actually a tribute to my grandmother-in-law, my wife's grandmother. When she was teaching years ago, she actually did a project about butterflies. And so what she was doing with butterflies, she had the whole thing where she had the milkweed plant, and she had the whole thing with the caterpillars eating and what have you, and eventually they released them. And of course, understandably so, grandmother-in-law was like, "Oh my God, what do you mean you got to release them?" So, as a tribute, and I think I may or may not have mentioned it. She did pass, I think it was on this September 3rd of 2023, I think it was, 2023. And my wife wanted to do is, and I'm really touched because she likes to do, she's wanting to take some interest outside here and doing some outdoor stuff. And so we went to Plasencia, which you look back at my archives. I did a video about Plasencia. I think I did 2 videos, as a matter of fact. And we went to Plasencia, which is a nursery there. And what we did is my wife said, "Hey, can we get some milkweed plants?" So I said, "All right, let's go find the milkweed plants." So we did, and we got 2 milkweed plants, and therefore, they were for only $5 and each. So that means $10 US. And then what we did, we got a clay pot, and I believe the clay pot was $8 US. And I had some soil in the back, and it came with some caterpillars on it. I was like, "Oh, look at that." And so what we decided, we even saw them as little eggs and whatever. And what we did is, what's kind of cool is you have to see the process of what we did. So hold on. Started out over here in the corner there. We thought, hey, get some more sun and that'll be wonderful and that'll do its thing. And then it was just like, it seemed like too much sun, and I was like, no. So then we took the little pot and we put it over here. Actually, this is a tomato plant that I'm trying to grow out, but that's beside the point. And we had it kind of down here. So we said, no, so we said, let's put it on a table, that table that's right there. And so we tried it over here, and I don't know. It just wasn't working out too well over here. Then, because I know why. Because right here, I'm not showing you. There's a wind tunnel. You remember and so the wind was kind of really knocking it around some dots. I knew there was a reason. So we said no. And so then we tried it over here, and then it was going okay, but then there was this thing called a cold front that it was coming in, and so what are we gonna do? They're gonna die. So I said, you know what? Our good friend William, who's the guy who paints those stands, don't run away, those stands, and he said, hey, let's put the plant here and this plant here, so the tortoise, which you look back at my archives, I talked about the tortoise wouldn't get so much so much like of the elements in terms of the rain and whatever, and so that's why we have that here. But primarily he said this plant, my Hawaiian tea plant, which is my favorite plant, don't tell my other plants that, it really protects against the wind, and it kind of shields against it. So we decided finally that this would be the spot. And like I said, there's the 2. Let me sit down here. Let me get down here. These are the 2 milkweed plants. There's one right here, one right here. I had this soil. We put about a bottle of water in here. This is the clay pot. And then, again, this is a pretty inexpensive project. $5. I had some soil. This was about $8 US. And we got this net right here. And that cost about $11 US. And that was it. And then it came with all of... Where did my wife go? Here. Oh, did you want to say something? You wanted to say something? No? Oh. Well, what was kind of cool is that it came with a whole bunch of... holy cow. Whole bunch of caterpillars. You see there? Larvae. Sorry, is that what you wanted to say? Larvae. And one of them actually formed a chrysalis right there. I know because I'm a little weird. I always thought it was just a cocoon, but it's called a chrysalis. Chrysalis. Thank you. That's my lovely wife there. And the chrysalis. And you have one over here that's kind of looking at becoming. You know, see how big it is? It's just enormous.
So
And
the plant came with tiny larvae, which are the eggs, little white dots. And then those little white dots grew. Eventually, a tiny, tiny caterpillar came out of them, out of it. And then those caterpillars grew and are eating through the plant. And then you can see a little one here.
right.
See?
Oh yeah, look at that.
So you can see them moving.
Yeah.
Okay. They're gonna grow to about this size. And then they're going to go on the top of the net.
As such.
And they're gonna turn into an upside down question mark and create a chrysalis. For butterflies, it's called a chrysalis.
For a moth.
For a moth, it's called a cocoon. So these are chrysalis. And then they'll be there a few days, and eventually a butterfly will come out.
And then when
Monarch butterfly.
when the butterfly comes out, what do we just like I'm thinking out loud. So let's say there's still like 5 or 6 more. Do we let that butterfly out and then close it up again? Is that how we do it?
Yes, because once it becomes a butterfly, she needs to eat.
So then we'll let
She
that
won't eat
the milkweed.
this milkweed anymore. She needs to fly and stretch her wings and
So then she goes out and we keep the other ones until.
they become butterflies.
And even though I'm not a betting man, I know my wife says they're gonna eat this plant to the bone. I don't think so. I think we're doing pretty well with the growth pattern. But I'm kind of amazed about all this. I'm probably gonna do a follow up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a follow up. I'm not sure yet. But I definitely. This is so exciting. I can't lie because I can't believe how many there are. I mean, there's just a bunch, and they grow. I know it sounds weird, but they grow by the minute. They really do. And so I'm pretty excited about what is going on here. And again, for those of you who want to do an inexpensive project, again, $10 for the milkweed plant, 5 and 5, $8 for the clay pot. I had some bootleg soil, nothing crazy. You have some. This net on Amazon costs about $11. I think that's with the tax and everything. And the important thing about this net is that it keeps those lovely birds away that are out there. It keeps any animals away, and it really provides a safe haven for these guys.
You gotta be careful with this plant because it is poisonous to cats and dogs and rabbits and deer and goats.
Especially the rabbit and deer, which are up north. For my friends who
That's
are
why
up
we
there.
put it on a table because we do have a dog.
There's the dog now, I think. There she is. Collie Wally. There she is. Collie, wave to the people. Thank you, Collie. Anything else? How you like that? That was a collaborative. I know it's in the social media world. A collab. So it was a collab. But really, I'm very, I had to shoot a video. I know it's not fish. I know it's not college, but it was quite amazing. And you got to hear my wife on video. How you like that? How you like that? I hope you enjoyed it. 8 minutes and 45 seconds. I had to do a video. I mean, this was too cool. As the sun is beating on my head. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's totally different from fish in college. But like I said, I'm always learning, and I hope you enjoyed it because much as I am enjoying it. This is Louis D. Fresh.